Morning, everyone. And I have to say, everyone who came in that main entrance was looking incredibly neat and tidy. So thanks for taking your number ones to that level. We're going to start this morning with hymn number 27, Morning Has Broken.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Please be seated. Did you know that hymn was a pop song in the 70s by a guy named Cat Stevens? Did anyone know that? No. Ancient history. It was a very popular song. Today, of course, this weekend we're celebrating Lunar New Year. So we'll hear a little bit about Lunar New Year this morning. And it is the year of the, who knows? Of the rabbit. Yeah, well, you'll know all about that by the time we're done this morning. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna invite Adam, Hidley, and Rahia to come up, and they're going to do a reading for us.
Hello. These are quotes from Confucius. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it.
Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated.
Our greatest glory is not never failing, but in getting up every time we do.
What you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others.
Virtue is not left to stand alone. He who practices it will have neighbors.
Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance.
I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand.
Wheresoever you go, go with all your heart.
When it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps.
And then, it being the year of the rabbit, I think this is quite fitting. If you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Confucius, he just fits right in with the Shawnigan philosophy. It's amazing. Spencer Zhang is going to come up and share some reflections on Lunar New Year with us. Spencer.
Okay. Thank you, Adam Rahia. Good morning, Shawnigan, and happy Lunar New Year. To many of us here at Shawnigan Lake School, Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year is something very special. It's not just that we got a week off of school back at home, although I do really miss that, now more than ever. Although I do really miss that, it's because it's a year and a time of the year for families to come together, to eat too much food, and to argue over mahjong. It's a time to celebrate accomplishments, and I wanted to share a bit of that with you guys today. Lunar New Year means something different for everyone, so I'll tell you a story about myself so maybe you can understand what Lunar New Year means to me personally. For those who don't know me, my name is Spencer. I'm a school prefect, and this is my 4th year at Shawnigan Lake School. Before, I had lived in Hong Kong, an apartment small in comparison to those here in Canada, but it was home nonetheless. My day-to-day life was nothing special. I went to school, and I did my sports, and I did my chores, but every day I was secretly biding my time, counting the days. I scratched little notches into the wall. I couldn't wait for Chinese New Year. There were many motivations for my dedication to the holiday. The fantastic food, the events, the week-long break I mentioned, and above all, getting those great red packets filled with money. If you had asked me when I was still in Hong Kong what I was looking forward to, he would have given you those answers. But now looking back on it, I think I've realized what the holiday was truly about. The last time I celebrated Lunar New Year was in 2019, the year I left for Shawnigan Lake School. I vividly remember we went out for lunch in the city center to one of those great fancy restaurants, the ones you go to only for occasions like these, and my granddad approached me. He then showed me a photo album that he has kept ever since, really. He flipped the pages one by one, pointing out characters in his life. Some I knew, some I didn't. Photos that spanned the war to the present. He then flipped to the year 2005. And from then on, as he continued to flip the pages, I always recognized the same one person in every photo, myself. And in that moment, I knew that I would always miss and love my granddad, no matter how far away I was. That is what Lunar New Year means to me. It means family, and how we should cherish every moment we have with the people we love. Let Lunar New Year be a reminder for us all to remember them, no matter how far away you are. Traditionally, Lunar New Year is a time for renewal, for setting intentions and for wishing for prosperity and good luck in the year to come. It's also a time to honor our ancestors and the cultural traditions that have been passed down through generations. But personally, for me, Lunar New Year is a time for family and friends to come together, usually for a great feast, but we don't come for the food, the event, the week-long break, or those great red packets. We celebrate it for each other. So as we celebrate the Lunar New Year today and tomorrow, let us take a moment to reflect on the significance of this special occasion, and let us make a commitment to building a stronger, more unified community for the year to come. And also a reminder, speak to your loved ones tonight, in person or over the phone, and make sure that they know that you love them, for that is what this day means to me. Happy Lunar New Year, Shawnigan. Gong hei fat choi. Enjoy the festival. Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer. I think thank you. And now I have to speak after you, which I should know better than doing that. But we're going to sing first, so this should help. We're going to sing the Groves House hymn, I Feel the Winds of God today, number 4. Please stand.
Today my sail I will.
Thank you all. Please be seated. That was very nice. So some of you may know that several years ago there was a major problem with rabbits at the University of Victoria. Have any of you heard this history? Yes. There were hundreds of them all over campus. Apparently, UVic became known as Bunny U all over the world. There were articles in the New York Times. There was a suit brought by animal rights groups over the campus's plans to dispose of the varmints. And at one point there were rumors, and I remember this specifically, there were rumors that there were so many tunnels and caverns being dug under the university by the rabbits that people were afraid the whole university was going to collapse and be swallowed up in the ground. People really believed this. So I have a friend who had a fishing lodge up on one of the northern Gulf Islands. He was also happened to be Victoria City Councilor. So he made an offer to the university. He said, if you collect a bunch of the rabbits, I'll take them up to this island. There's a big, beautiful field there, and I'll let them go, and they can nibble away. So they made him promise that he wasn't going to eat the rabbits, and he took them up and released them onto the field. And they began their new life. But very quickly, word went out to the local eagle community about these rabbits, and well, the rest of it is too grisly to tell in chapel. And I remember thinking, well, you thought these rabbits would be smarter coming from a university like the University of Victoria. So this weekend we are celebrating the Lunar New Year, and this is the year, of course, as we've said, of the rabbit, a creature known for being witty, quick-minded, ingenious, and vigilant. This vigilant apparently doesn't include the ability to look up with a lot of rabbits. There are those who say that the rabbit, however, can also be cautious when making decisions with a wariness about the future, timid, like a rabbit. So these are all qualities of the rabbit of the Chinese zodiac. And I think we're all a little bit rabbit-like these days, aren't we, when it comes to thinking about the future? We all tend to be to fret and worry a bit about what is to come. And, let's be honest, there are some alarming things going on that will likely continue to happen, so it is a bit scary these days not knowing what the future will bring. So oftentimes what happens is when we're worried about the future, we tend to cope by making up stories about what's going to happen. Sometimes we imagine wonderful things will happen. More often, I think we imagine all the terrible things that might happen. And I think that we make these stories up as a way of trying to control the future. I'm on my way to class, I'm 10 minutes late, so I create a whole drama in my head about what the teacher will say and what I will say, and I rehearse a scenario as if imagining it will make it happen. Anyone have this experience? Yeah. So sometimes it's a good thing to rehearse for the future, to imagine what questions might be on an exam or what questions we might be asked at a job interview. It can be useful to make plans. But when we plan or imagine the future in order to avoid the uncertainty of the future, we really are deluding ourselves. Because, in fact, the future is uncertain. That's what makes it the future. It is the collection of things that have not yet happened. So deciding it is going to be a certain way may help us to have a certain kind of a direction and purpose, but it won't take the uncertainty away. Nor will fretting about it take the uncertainty away. By definition, uncertainty is something we can't do anything about except to embrace it as an opportunity to become less attached to our ideas about how things ought to be in the future, how things should be. It's never the case that we can have exactly the world we want, but these days the absurdity of thinking that we can has become a bit clearer with the latest COVID variant and the latest climate catastrophe. We don't have a lot of choice when it comes to the future. It's not a door that we can decide to go through or not to go through. It isn't a step that we can take or not take, any more than walking into a fast, rushing stream has any effect on the movement of the water. The future is relentless. It's going to happen no matter what we do. So, of course, what is important is how we accept its arrival. Timidly or overcautiously or with ingenuity and vigilance and quick-wittedness? What kind of bunny do we want to be? Seeing the future as a sinister unknown or as a new day full of new possibilities. So the best way we can prepare for the future, like everything, and we think about this on occasions like this when we have a new year starting. So the best way we can prepare is not to worry about it or wish it will be a certain way, but to continue to prepare ourselves by developing wit and ingenuity and vigilance, becoming people who will bring skills and abilities and positive attitudes to the future, people whom the future will need. One writer puts it like this: to accept the challenge of the unknown in spite of all fears is courage. The fears are there, but if you go on accepting the challenge again and again, slowly those fears disappear. The joy that comes from accepting the unknown things, a great ecstasy that makes you strong, gives you a certain integrity, makes your intelligence sharp. You start feeling that life is not just a boredom. Slowly, fears disappear, and you begin to experience life as a great adventure. That's the advantage of the unknown uncertainty of the future. It presents us with an adventure, with opportunities that we can't even imagine what they'll be. And I can attest that this is true. This is a good way to live. So as we enter into the year of the rabbit, perhaps we can commit to letting go of all of our stories about all the horrible things that might or might not happen, and take life as it comes, prepared for it, with all its opportunities and challenges, knowing that we are capable of mastering every situation, no matter how difficult, and remembering that all us rabbits are in this together after all. So happy Lunar New Year, everybody. And this morning we have a very special musical presentation. You may know this group as the Vigilant Bunnies. It's Audrey and Harry, so let's give them a hand as they come up.
That's a really interesting name that we didn't choose. But, so Harry and I will be performing Let's Fall in Love for the Night by Phineas today. Let's fall in love for the night and forget in the morning. Play me a song that you like, you can bet I'll know every line. I'm the boy that you boy hoped that you would avoid. Don't waste your eyes on jealous guys, that noise. I know better than to call you mine. You need to pick me up, I'll be there in 25. I like to push my luck, so take my hand, let's take a drive. I've been living in the future, hoping I might see you sooner. I want you riding shotgun, I knew when I got one right. Let's fall in love for the night and forget in the morning. Play me
Thanks, guys. So wonderful. Just amazing when people get up and perform. Very inspiring and really just beautiful. Thank you. We are going to, we're going to sing. And we're going to sing number 42, which is not a hymn we sing often, Immortal, Invisible, God, Only Wise. So maybe, Mrs. Daniel, you can just play through the verse, and then, so don't stand up until she's finished with the first, playing through the verse, and then we'll all stand and sing. Number 42. Thank you. That was pretty good. Please be seated for the prayers, and I'll invite Maya Frankel to please come forward and lead us in the prayers.
We pause to think about those in need in our families and in the world. Please respond to the bidding, Lord, in your mercy, with hear our prayer. We pray for peace in Ukraine, in the Middle East, and throughout the world. We remember especially the innocent victims of war and violence. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for the sick, the lonely, and the poor. We especially remember the children who are without the basic necessities of life. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for those who work as first responders, hospital staff, and medical researchers, for their health and well-being. Lord, in your mercy. We pray for leaders of government, business, and education, that they might exercise their authority with kindness and wisdom. Lord, in your mercy. For our families and friends, and those who teach us the care for our needs. Lord, in your mercy. We take a brief moment to consider any other needs in our hearts. Lord, in your mercy.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you all. There's no hymns with bunny rabbits in them, but Joyful, Joyful talks about the meadows and the forest. So you can just imagine bunnies like hopping around in the meadow maybe while we sing this. So number 9, Joyful, Joyful, please stand.
Thanks, Rev, and thanks for scripting such a beautiful service this morning, from the wisdom of Confucius to the wisdom of Rev around rabbits. And a particular thank you to Spencer for that piece of cultural sharing about Lunar New Year and how you extended the message not only to those who celebrate Lunar New Year, but to all of us with some vital messaging there. So much appreciated. I do want to say one little thank you. I think all of you know that we had the independent school heads on campus on Thursday and Friday. I think it's over a decade since all the independent school heads in BC were at Shawnigan, and resoundingly, they really appreciated their engagement and connections with our students and said just how grounded Shawnigan students are. And those students who are ambassadors and led guided tours, and the heads had choice in terms of what they selected, in terms of gaining insights into different parts of the Shawnigan journey. But we didn't just select prefects, we selected a number of different students who actually just happened to have free periods at that point, and you did an amazing job, and the heads came back completely energized from their conversations with you. So thank you for representing Shawnigan so well, each and every one of you who connected with the heads of independent schools at BC. It's a busy weekend. We're a little light today in terms of numbers, but we've got basketball, we've got robotics, we've got hockey, we've got indoor field hockey, we've got squash tournaments, we've got bouldering, and perhaps most importantly, we've got Lunar New Year as well, and there's a special dinner on Sunday evening. So enjoy the weekend. It's a bit dreary and dismal out there, but there are a lot of exciting things to engage us with. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you.